day, beautiful people. Today we will take a look at your digestive system. Please note that your digestive system, this is composed of your oral cavity, the alimentary tract, and your associated glands or your associated digestive organs, which includes your liver, your pancreas, your gallbladder, as well as your salivary glands. Of course, your digestive system functions in the ingestion of food, mastication of food, deglutition or swallowing of food, digestion and as absorption of food, as well as in the elimination of indigestible food remnants. Okay, regions of your digestive system, they are modified and they have specialized structures in order to be able to perform these varied functions or varied tasks accordingly. Okay, and so first we will take a look at your oral cavity, and then after that we will move on to your alimentary tract from your esophagus going down to your stomach, to your intestines, to your small intestines, then to your large intestines going down to your anal canal or to the anus. Okay, and so that is the order of our lecture. Your oral cavity or your buccal cavity or your mouth as what they call it. Please note that your oral cavity, this is lined by your oral mucosa. And this oral mucosa is divided into three classifications, namely, you have your lining mucosa, masticatory mucosa, and your specialized mucosa. Okay, please note that your oral mucosa is composed of stratified squamous, keratinized to non-keratinized or parakeratinized epithelium. And yes, there is an underlying dense, irregular collagenous connective tissue. Please note, dense irregular collagenous connective tissue. This is the underlying connective tissue of the lining epithelium of your oral cavity. Please note it is irregular because the forces, okay, the tearing or shearing forces present or that happens in the buccal cavity or in the oral cavity happens in different directions. And yes, going back to your irregular, when we say dense irregular connective tissue, it will provide resistance to forces or to, yes, to tensile forces in different directions. Okay? In your oral cavity, this is where the food is moistened by the secretion known as saliva. The food is chewed using your food is chewed and ground using your teeth, and yes, the food is isolated by the tongue, forming spherical masses of 2 centimeters in diameter, and you call this one as bolus, a mixture of your partially digested food. The partially digested food has a diameter of 2 centimeter. Okay, partially digested food and the mixture of your partially digested food and saliva is known as your bolus. Okay, bolus po yun ha, hindi po embolus. This one is an illustration of the oral cavity. You have here your lips. Okay, you have the lips, you have the teeth. Okay, you have your teeth here, you have your tongue, you have the uvula, you have the oropharynx, you have your tonsils, and then you have your salivary ducts present, your hard palate and soft palate accordingly. Okay? Let's take a look at your masticatory mucosa. Your masticatory mucosa, it is lined by parakeratinized to completely keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Please note masticatory. It is mastication. Okay, in mastication, ngumunguya ka. There is a contact of the food, okay, and then the mucosa. Okay, masticatory mucosa. This is found in regions that are exposed to considerable frictional and shearing forces. Okay, examples of that or yes, or examples, you have the gingiva or the gums. Okay, kapag pumumuhi ang isang tao, okay, there is a considerable contact or frictional and shearing forces that takes place, brought about by the contact of the food and the mucosa or and the gums, 'di ba? Dorsal surface of the tongue. Okay, yang nakikita nyo na portion ng dila na yan, and then your hard palate. Those are locations of your masticatory mucosa. These are portions wherein they are exposed to considerable frictional and shearing forces. And then, of course, underlying your masticatory mucosa is a dense, irregular, collagenous connective tissue. Dense, irregular, collagenous. Okay? And so, same pa rin po. Dense, irregular, collagenous. And then you have your lining mucosa. Lining mucosa, this one is located in the remainder, or this is found in the remainder of the oral cavity, which is non-keratinized epithelium. It is non-keratinized epithelium, and still there is an underlying connective tissue. This time, it is looser type. Okay, looser type of dense, irregular, collagenous connective tissue. But then it's still irregular. Okay, and then you have your specialized mucosa. This mucosa is found in the areas that bear your taste buds. Okay, that bear your taste buds. Of course, the taste buds here, okay, and so makes it special. Okay, and so the taste bud is for the perception of taste. Okay, and so yes, saan po siya makikita? Where can you find this? Specialized mucosa at the dorsal surface of the tongue, patches of the soft palate, and pharynx accordingly. And yes, your specialized mucosa here is specialized to perceive your taste. Okay, and so you have 5 major uh, taste perceptions accordingly. But then anyway, we'll take a look at that as we move on. Okay, and then you have your salivary glands. Please note, present in your oral cavity are salivary glands. You have your major, and your major salivary glands, they are otherwise known as extrinsic, and then your minor salivary glands, they are otherwise known as intrinsic. Okay, your salivary glands, please note, they have ducts to deliver the secretions to the oral cavity. Yes, they are exocrine in nature, diba? They are exocrine in nature. They secrete saliva to moisten the mouth. And then one important enzyme or protein that is produced or secreted by your salivary glands is your salivary amylase. That functions to partially digest carbohydrates. Okay, and so your salivary glands, they are made of serous cells and mucous cells accordingly. Okay, and so yes, going back to your major and minor. When you say major, they are otherwise known as extrinsic salivary glands. They are located outside of the buccal cavity. Okay, they are example. Okay, you have your paired parotid glands, your submandibular and your sublingual salivary glands. These are major salivary glands. And yes, please note that your major salivary glands, they secrete 90% of the total saliva. And kailan po sila nagsisecrete? The secretion of your saliva from your major salivary gland is stimulated by the presence of food in the mouth, the thought of food, iniisip mo na may pagkain, magsasalivate ka, okay, and then the smell of food. Okay, in contrast, for your intrinsic or your minor salivary glands, like your uh, lingual glands, okay, lingual salivary glands, or your salivary glands that are located inside the buccal cavity. Please note that these salivary glands, they secrete a saliva at a constant rate. And by the way, they secrete 10% of the total saliva. Your minor or your intrinsic salivary glands, they secrete saliva at a constant rate, enough to moisten the buccal cavity. Okay, enough to moisten the buccal cavity para po hindi siya ma-dry. Okay, and then you have your lips. Yes, part of your oral cavity or part of the mouth or the buccal cavity is your lips. Your lips, they form the anterior boundary of the oral cavity. Anterior boundary. 'Di ba? Okay, they guard the entrance into the oral cavity. Okay. And please note that the core of your lips is made of, or the core is skeletal muscle fibers. Skeletal muscle fibers, again, going back, when we say skeletal, it is, the control is the control is voluntary. Sorry. Okay, when we say skeletal muscle fibers or skeletal, the control is voluntary. You can control it. Okay, and so it's controlled by your own will. Kaya, okay, this skeletal muscle fibers, they are responsible for your lip mobility. 'Di ba? You can control the movement of your lips. 'Di ba? Okay, you can control the movement of your lips. Okay, and yes, your lips, it is subdivided into three regions. You have the skin, and then the vermilion zone. The vermilion zone here is the pink portion of the lips, no? Or yeah, yung red na sinasabi niyo dyan. And then a mucus aspect. Okay? Your this one is an illustration accordingly of your lips. Okay? And so you have your lips accordingly here. Anyway, your external aspect or the skin portion of your lips, okay, is covered with thin skin and it is associated with sweat glands, hair follicles, and sebaceous glands. Please note that the sweat glands, the hair follicles, and the sebaceous glands present at the external aspect of your lips, they are functional. Gumagana po sila. They are capable of secreting sweat, sebaceous glands, ganon. Okay, and this one is continuous with your vermilion zone. Okay, ayan. So, yes, yung periphery po ng lips mo, that is not pink or not red, that is the skin or the external aspect of your lips. And then you have your vermilion zone. Your vermilion zone here, this is the pink region of your lips and is covered with skin but does not have sweat glands. Okay, does not have sweat glands, hair follicle. There are occasional sebaceous glands, but then they are not functional. Okay, the occasional sebaceous glands present are not functional. Accordingly, if there is sweat glands present, then probably they are not functional as well. Okay, your reti apparatus is present, which is highly developed in the vermilion zone. Your reti apparatus here is an interdigitation between the epithelial and connective tissue components of the oral mucosa. Okay, in your reti apparatus, you have your capillary loops present, which are close to the surface of the skin. Okay, these capillary loops are close to the surface of the skin, imparting a pink color. Okay, and so the capillary loops. Okay, again, kapag capillary, it contains blood. Okay, and so since the lips, okay, is thin, of course, okay, and so the blood will impart, or the capillary present will impart a pink color to your lips. Okay, so probably the thinner or the more capillary loops present, then the brighter the color of the lips. No? Okay, and then you have the mucus portion. Okay, the mucus portion of your lips is always wet and it is lined by non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Please note it's non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, unlike sa masticatory mucosa, which is keratinized. Okay, the mucus portion, okay, the underlying the underlying connective tissue is dense, irregular, collagenous connective tissue pa rin po. Okay, and so because again, a dense, irregular, because it needs to, what you call this, it needs to cater to the needs, diba, of your lips. Okay, it needs to cater to your multi-directional shearing and frictional forces of your when grinding, when chewing food and others. Okay, and so yes, in your underlying connective tissue, it houses numerous mucus and minor salivary glands. Okay, you have your teeth. Okay, please note accordingly you have two sets of tooth. Accordingly, or two sets of teeth. First, you have your 20 deciduous teeth, or this is otherwise known as your milk teeth. Okay, milk teeth po yon. And then you have a 32 permanent teeth. Okay, and paano po ba ito? Una, your milk teeth, mapapalitan po yan. It will be, it will be replaced by your 20 succedaneous teeth. Okay, and then, madadagdagan po yung 20 succedaneous teeth ng 12 molars. Okay, these 12 molars, hindi na po sila mapapalitan accordingly. Okay, they are permanent already. Okay, that is for your teeth. And yes, this your two sets of teeth, they are evenly distributed in between the maxillary and mandibular arches. Okay? Sa salamin, magsalamin ka po, dyan po ang distribution. Dyan mo po makikita ang teeth. It's in between your maxillary and mandibular arches. Okay? Please note that your teeth, it has a crown, a cervix, and a root accordingly, or a neck. There is a neck. Okay, and so you have here an illustration of your your teeth. Okay, of course you have the crown. Okay, you have your crown. Accordingly, you have your crown here. This is the crown, and then you have the neck, and then you have the root. Okay, yes, parts of your teeth, you have your enamel, you have your dentine, ganyan, and then you have your cementum, you have your pulp, and then you have the root. Anyway, mineralized components of your teeth, you have your enamel, you have the dentine, and the cementum. Please note that the dentine, it surrounds the pulp chamber and root canal and is covered on the crown by your enamel and on the root by your cementum. Okay, and yes, the bulk of your hard substance of the tooth is composed again of your dentine. Okay, most of the hard substance of your tooth is made of dentin. Okay, the enamel and cementum of the teeth, they meet each other at the cervix of the tooth, or at the neck of the tooth accordingly. Okay, your enamel, it overlies the dentin of the crown. Please note that it is your hardest substance in the body. Okay, hardest substance. It is harder than bone. And with that being said, there is a calcified portion. The calcified portion of your enamel is composed of large crystals, and each of these crystals accordingly is coated with a thin layer of organic matrix. Okay, thin layer of organic matrix. The organic constituents of your enamel are keratin-like high molecular weight glycoproteins, as well as tyrosine-rich enamelins, together with related proteins amelogenin and ameloblastin. Okay, of course, the inorganic substance, or the calcified substance, which is 96% of your enamel, is calcium hydroxyapatite crystals. Your 96% calcium hydroxyapatite crystals. Again, your enamel is 96% hydroxyapatite crystals, while the remaining 4% is your organic matrix, which includes your keratin-like high molecular weight glycoproteins, tyrosine-rich enamelins, as well as proteins, your amelogenin and ameloblastin. Okay? And yes, not to forget that your ameloblast is spelled as Ameloblast. Ameloblast. These are the cells responsible in producing your enamel. You have here an illustration of a schematic diagram of a teeth. Okay, and yes, please note that your teeth, you have different teeth and you have different morphological features. Okay, you also have different numbers of roots and different functions, like seizing a prey or cutting smaller pieces from large chunks and macerating the chunk to form a bolus. Okay, and so yes, you specialize in teeth. Okay, you specialize in teeth, and yes, I know you know more than me about ngipin. Okay, and so general lang po ang babanggitin natin ngayon dito. Okay, and so yes, each tooth is suspended in a bony socket. Okay, it is, or the bony socket is your alveolus. Okay, and so yes, the tooth is suspended in your alveolus by a dense, irregular, collagenous connective tissue. And this dense, irregular, collagenous connective tissue is known as your periodontal ligament. Periodontal ligament. Okay? The gingiva or the gums also supports the tooth, and its epithelium seals the oral cavity from the subepithelial connective tissue spaces. Okay? The portion of the teeth that is visible, yung mga nakikita po dyan in the oral cavity, is called as the clinical crown. Okay, or yes, crown, the clinical crown. And the region housed with the alveolus is known, of course, as the root. Okay, and so yes, you have here your dental alveolus. Okay, and so you have your dental alveolus here, and then you have your pulp. Okay, your periodontal ligament, and then you have the pulp, and then of course you have your canal. Okay, moving on to your dentine. Your dentine, this is the second hardest tissue in the body, and yes, it forms bulk of the tooth. Okay, it is made of 70% calcium hydroxyapatite, no? Okay, and so yes, comparing it with your animal, which is made of 96% calcium hydroxyapatite. Okay, and so you have more organic matrix, lesser of calcified inorganic substance. Okay, your dentin is yellowish in color, and its high degree of elasticity protects the overlying brittle enamel from becoming fractured. Okay, that is for your dentin. Again, it is made of 70% calcium hydroxyapatite, no? And then you have 20 to 25 organic matrix or materials, which are bound to water accordingly. Most of the organic matrix present are type 1 collagen associated with proteoglycans and glycoproteins. That is the second hardest substance in the body. Let's move on to your cementum. Sorry, by the way, before I forget, your dentin, this one is the dentin, it is secreted by your odontoblast. Okay, your dentin is secreted by your odontoblast. Kapag animal naman, it is secreted by your ameloblast. Okay, your cementum. Your cementum, that is the third mineralized tissue of the tooth. Okay? And yes, this one is restricted in the root portion. Okay? And so, hindi po siya nakikita sa may crown na area. Because your dentin, okay, because your cementum and your enamel, they meet at the neck region of the teeth. So, with that being said, hindi na siya mag-i-extend up to your crown area. Okay? Your cementum is composed of 45 to 50% calcium hydroxyapatite and then 50 to 55% organic materials which are bound to bound water. Okay? Most of the organic material is made of type 1, type 3, and type 12 collagen fibers with associated glycosaminoglycans, proteoglycans, and glycoproteins accordingly. Your cementum of the teeth is same as the hardness of your bone. Okay, it is same as the hardness of your bone. Then you have your pulp of the oral cavity. Of your tooth. The pulp of the tooth is made of loose, gelatinous connective tissue rich in proteoglycans and glycosaminoglycans and has an extensive vascular and nerve supply. Accordingly, according to some references, it has some lymph circulatory elements. Okay, yes, the pulp communicates with the periodontal ligament through the apical foramen. This is a small opening at the tip of each root. Okay, for your pulp again, it is highly vascular. Okay, it has an extensive vascular and nerve supply. Okay, and then you have the gingiva. Your gingiva or your gums, this is attached to the enamel surface by a thin wedge-shaped stratified squamous, either fully keratinized or partially keratinized epithelium. And yes, you call this as your junctional epithelium. This one will somewhat seal, okay, the gaps. Your gingiva, or yes, okay, and so the gingiva is exposed to strenuous frictional forces. That is why the epithelium is keratinized accordingly. Okay, there is an underlying dense, irregular collagenous connective tissue. Irregular pa rin po because the tensile forces, okay, that is experienced in this area or in the gingiva is in different direction. Okay, you have your palate. Please note that your palate here, it separates the cavities of the nose and the cavities of the mouth. Okay, your palate is composed of your hard palate, a soft palate, and an uvula. Okay, again, your palate separates the oral cavity from the nasal cavity. Okay, and so your masticatory mucosa of the hard palate is composed of wet, stratified squamous epithelium. Kapag sinabi po natin na wet, okay, it is non-keratinized stratified squamous. And then there is an underlying dense irregular connective tissue. Dense irregular connective tissue pa rin po ang present. Since your palate, it will separate your oral cavity from the nasal cavity. The nasal aspect of the hard palate is covered by respiratory epithelium with occasional patches of stratified non-keratinized epithelium. Respiratory epithelium or pseudostratified columnar epithelium. Okay? And then, yes, your soft palate, the oral surface is covered by wet, stratified, non-keratinized epithelium. And then there is a dense, irregular connective tissue. There is an underlying dense, irregular connective tissue that houses mucous minor salivary glands. And yes, as for your nasal aspect, the epithelium is the same with hard palate, which is pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. The uvula. The histology of your uvula is the same with your soft palate. Okay, same pa rin po. The epithelium is made of stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. And then still there is an underlying dense irregular collagenous connective tissue with mucous minor salivary glands. Kapag mucous minor salivary glands, the salivary gland secretes mucus. Okay? Hindi enzyme. And yes, the core of the uvula is composed of skeletal muscle. Okay, it is composed of skeletal muscle. Okay, and then you have your tongue. Your tongue, it is the largest structure in the oral cavity. Okay, it is extremely mobile due to the presence of large intertwined mass of skeletal muscle fibers. Yes, it is extremely mobile. Okay, gumagalaw po siya. You can move it kapag nagsasalita ka, kapag mumuya ka, or whatever kung anong ginagawa mo dyan sa tongue mo. It is mobile. Okay, you can move it. No? Because of course, and sabi natin, skeletal muscle fibers ang present. Control, voluntary. Okay, you can control. Okay, and so it's up to you kung anong gawin mo. You can create a shape dyan sa tongue mo, whatsoever. Because, again, the movement is voluntary or the control is voluntary. Okay? You have extrinsic and intrinsic muscles or skeletal muscles present. Your intrinsic muscles, they are arranged in four groups. Okay, they are arranged in four groups. You have superior and inferior longitudinal muscles, and then you have a vertical muscle and transverse muscle. Your intrinsic muscle, they are responsible in altering the shape of the tongue. Okay, they are responsible in altering the shape of the tongue. Okay? And so intersperse with your intrinsic muscle fibers are minor salivary glands. Okay? Minor salivary glands, they are distributed throughout the buccal cavity. And then you have your extrinsic muscles. Your extrinsic muscles, they move the tongue in and out and side to side. Okay, and so try nyo pong gawin the movement from side to side, and in and out. That is attributed to the presence of extrinsic muscles present in the tongue. Dorsal surface of the tongue. Your dorsal surface, again, kapag dorsal surface, that is the upper portion, or yan po yung nakikita. Kapag dumila ka, okay, yan po yung nakikita. Okay, the dorsal surface has two unequal regions. Okay, it has two unequal regions. You have the anterior two-thirds and posterior one-third, which is separated by a sulcus terminalis. This sulcus terminalis is a V-shaped groove. Okay, what is a sulcus? A shallow depression or a groove, or a sulcus, or a shallow depression, a groove. Again, your sulcus terminalis separates your anterior two-thirds and posterior one-third of the dorsal surface of the tongue. Again, your sulcus terminalis is a V-shaped groove. Okay, the uneven distribution is due to the presence of your lingual tonsil. The uneven distribution of your anterior and posterior is due to the presence of uneven. Due to your uneven due to the presence of your lingual tonsils. Okay, it is uneven due to the presence of lingual tonsils. Okay, and yes, the root of the tongue is the most posterior portion. Actually, three regions po dapat. You have your anterior two-thirds, and then posterior one-third, and then the most posterior portion, which is the root of the tongue. Okay, the tongue has three regions. Okay. Let's take a look at your papillae of the tongue. Your lingual papillae, they are small, raised protrusions accordingly. Okay, they are small raised protrusions, and yes, you have your different papillae. You have your filiform papillae, fungiform papillae, foliate, and circumvallate papillae. All of these are located anterior to the sulcus terminalis, on the dorsal or lateral aspect of the tongue. Okay? Your filiform papillae, sorry, it should be papillae, ha? Okay. It is slender and they impart a velvety appearance to the dorsal surface. Velvety appearance po ha. Appearance, not the texture. Okay? It is covered by stratified keratinized squamous epithelium. This one, your stratified keratinized squamous epithelium present will help to scrape a food of a surface. Okay? And yes, as for your filiform papillae, it does not have a taste bud. Okay? It does not contain a taste bud. Then you have your fungiform papillae. It resembles a mushroom with slender stalks. It is covered by stratified squamous or non-keratinized epithelium. Okay, the blood passing through the subepithelial capillary loops appear as red dots, giving you a red dots. Yeah, a red dots on your fungiform papillae. In your fungiform papillae, there are taste buds on the dorsal aspect. There are taste buds on the dorsal foliate papillae. It is located in the posterolateral aspect of the tongue. And yes, they appear as vertical furrows or grooves accordingly. And yes, they possess in your foliate, it has a functional taste buds sa mga neonates for the newborns. But then, this functional taste buds degenerate by the second year of life. Kaya, kapag adult na po ang isang tao, in the foliate, it does not contain taste buds. Okay? Glands of von Ebner empty into the base of the furrows of your foliate papillae. You have your circumvallate papillae. It is 8 to 12 V-shaped papillae accordingly. They are submerged into the surface of the tongue and they are surrounded by an epithelially lined groove. And yes, they possess a taste bud accordingly. Okay, that is for your circumvallate papillae. Actually is a diagrammatic illustration of your papillae. Okay? Yes, you have here circumvallate. This is your circumvallate papillae. You have your filiform papillae. And then you have your taste buds. Of course, you have your intrinsic muscle. Since tongue po ito, di ba, there is an extrinsic and intrinsic muscle. Okay, and so you have your fungiform papillae. Please note, sa fungiform papillae, it contains taste buds. It contains taste buds. Your taste buds. Your taste buds, these are intraepithelial sensory organs that function in the perception of taste. Okay, the surface of the tongue and the posterior aspect of the oral cavity have approximately 2,000 to 8,000 taste buds accordingly. Each taste bud accordingly is composed of 60 to 80 spindle-shaped cells. And yes, your taste bud is an structure. Oval in structure, and it measures 70 to 80 micrometers long and 30 to 40 micrometers wide. Okay, your taste bud is paler than the epithelium surrounding it. Okay, and the structure of your taste bud, it is made of 60 to 80 slender cells accordingly. Okay, forming an oval structure. Okay, your taste buds The narrow end of your taste bud, which is located at the free surface of the epithelium, projects to an opening, and you call that opening as the taste pore. The taste pore or the opening is formed by the squamous epithelial cells that overlie the taste bud. Okay, again, your taste pore is formed by squamous cells, epithelial cells that overlie the taste bud. Okay, you have your cells that constitute the taste bud. You have your dark cells, light cells, intermediate cells, or basal cells. Your dark cells, this is otherwise known as type 1, your light cells, type 2, and then your intermediate cells as type 3. Again, pag basal cells po, automatic, alam nyo na po dapat yan. Basal cells, they produce they are the precursor of your other cells. Okay? But then, as per the histology and functional connection of these dark cells, light cells, intermediate cells, it is not clear. Okay, the physiological connection is not clear accordingly. But then researchers agree that the basal cells function as reserve cells and regenerate the cells of the taste buds. Okay, they regenerate the cells of the taste buds, which have an average lifespan of 10 days. And yes, following the progression, your basal cells will give rise to dark cells, which will mature into light cells and become intermediate cells and die. Okay, and then of course your basal cells will give rise to dark cells again, and the cycle continues. Your nerve fibers enter the taste bud and form synaptic junctions with type 1, or otherwise known as your dark cells, type 2, clear, and type 3, intermediate cells. Of course, indicating that all the three cell types probably function in the discernment of taste. And yes, as such, they are known as neuroepithelial cells. Diba? Your clear cells, dark cells, your type 1, type 2, type 3 cells, they are also known as neuroepithelial cells. Each of these cells or each of these cell types has long, slender microvilli that protrude from the taste pore. Okay, they have a long, slender microvilli that protrude from the taste pore accordingly. Okay, and so yes, I mean, in the past, this long, slender microvilli is called as taste hairs accordingly. They are called as taste hairs. Beautiful people, since we are talking about taste, let's take a look at your taste stands and then taste sensations. Your taste stands, these are chemicals from food that are dissolved in saliva. And yes, these taste stands will interact either with ion channels or with receptors located on the microvilli of the taste cells. Okay, since they will interact, they will affect an electrical alteration in the resting potential of your taste cells. Okay, as a result of affecting electrical alterations in the resting potential, it will as a result there is a depolarization of the cell and will initiate an action potential that is transmitted to the brain, wherein the signals are interpreted as specific taste sensations. Okay? They are interpreted as specific taste sensations. There are five primary taste sensations. Namely, you have salty, sweet, sour, bitter, and umami accordingly. Your umami here is a savory taste sensed via glutamate receptors. It is believed accordingly that although every taste bud can discern each of the five sensations, each taste bud specializes in two of the four tastes accordingly. And yes, contrary to the belief that there is this portion of the tongue which specializes, which is for sour, which is for uh, sweet, for bitter, hindi po. Okay, and so yes, try nyo po na pahiran ng bitter yung portion na yan. Okay, matitaste, yung lahat ng portion ng tang, matitaste pa rin po ng tang yan. Yes, your different taste, okay, yes, taste buds, they are distributed throughout accordingly. And yes, there is no such thing as this portion of the tongue is for bitter only. There is no such thing as this portion of the tongue is for sweet sensation, sweet taste sensation only. No. Okay? And so again, every taste bud can discern each of the five sensations. But each taste bud specializes into two of the four tastes accordingly. To sum up your oral cavity, you have here a table showing the region and then the epithelia located. The region in the oral cavity and then the epithelium present and then other structures present. Okay, for your lip, for your the lips, the skin aspect, you have your stratified squamous epithelium, hair, sebaceous glands, and sweat glands are present. The vermilion zone, you have sebaceous glands. Okay, which are not functional, diba? And then your mucosal aspect, stratified squamous, non-keratinized, it has a mucus minor salivary glands. Okay, and so for the cheek, the skin, okay, stratified squamous keratinized, and then you have here sebaceous glands and sweet glands. The mucosa sa may sa loob na po ito. Okay, you have your stratified squamous non-keratinized. Gingiva, free and attached, masticatory mucosa. Your masticatory mucosa is keratinized, 'di ba? Okay, and it is bound to periosteum. The sulcus, lining mucosa, present, lining mucosa. Gingiva, junctional epithelium, stratified squamous, non-keratinized. And then you have your alveolar mucosa. It is lining mucosa. On your hard palate, still, you have the anterior portion, masticatory mucosa as the lining epithelium, hard palate, the posterior lateral portion, masticatory mucosa, and then of course you have it is bound to your periosteum. Your floor of the mouth, lining mucosa, and then it has minor mucous salivary glands in the connective tissue, and then the tongue, the dorsal surface, specialized mucosa embedded in masticatory mucosa. Okay, that is for your oral cavity portion of the digestive system. Yes, thank you for making this far. This has been Gael, reminding you to live fully, love deeply, laugh often, keep learning, and never forget to enjoy the ride. Again, this is Gael, forever grateful. Thank you.